are suing John's former client, Cynthia Booth, and her fiancé, Dwayne Burnley, for posting damaging reviews.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge.
Why are you
Case
coming?
2079, Frazee versus Burley Booth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Frazee, you are an electrician by trade.
Correct.
And how long have you been in that business, sir?
Since 1986 as a license and 1978 as an electrician.
Now, maybe a decade ago, you're going to give me the exact year, month and year. You were called to do a job for this lady. Your last name is?
Booth.
Miss Booth. And you did an electrical job for her. We'll go into it more fully in a minute. When you were doing that job, you brought in a helper. This gentleman whose name is Mr. Burnley.
That's correct.
And before you brought in Mr. Burnley, I gather from the papers, Mr. Burnley did not know Miss Booth. Would that be a fair statement?
That's a fair statement, but he did not bring me in. I was actually just driving down the street, and I'm new to the mountain, and I drove by and saw Mr. Frazee there, and I was...
Listen, this is not Gone with the Wind. This is not War and Peace. I asked you a simple question. Before you were brought in on the job,
Okay.
you didn't know Miss Booth.
That's correct.
Right. And that was about 10 years ago.
Correct.
Since that time, since you were brought in on the job, you and Miss Booth have gotten to know each other a lot better.
Correct.
And I assume that by a lot better, that the two of you live together.
Correct.
And you've been living together for how long?
Since November.
Of this last year,
Yes.
November of 2021. But prior to that, you were social friends.
Correct.
And that social friendship started when first introduced to her at this job. It's the first time you met her.
Oh, that's the first time I met her, correct.
Correct. This is your problem, and this is the nature of your lawsuit. You allege that you did a job for Miss Booth almost a decade ago, and you came to ascertain that Miss Booth and/or Mr. Burnley had written some negative reviews about your company, currently wrote negative reviews about your company based on work that you did 10 years ago.
Yes.
That's your complaint. And you asked them to take them down. First they did, then they didn't. You found other ones posted in different areas. Now, Mr. Burnley, are you a working man, sir?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical contractor in Big
Okay. Now, at the time that you first met Mr. Frazee, did you have your own company?
Yes.
You had your own company.
Yes.
In what year did you do Miss Booth's job?
I did it on April 30th, 2013, Your Honor.
That's not correct.
That's not correct.
Shh. Month and year, you say you did the job.
The job was done on May 9th of
what?
2013.
Okay, so we're off by a month. Is that right? I don't care. You were talking about 9 years ago.
Correct.
Now, tell me something about the job. What was the nature of the electrical job that you were doing?
An older home needs to have at least a minimum of a 100 amp service. Ms. Booth's home had a 70 amp service at the time. She was purchasing it, and that came up on the inspection report to replace that, which I was engaged to do.
So far, correct?
No.
Well, now I'll have your version. Did you have to upgrade the electric?
I had to upgrade due to a homeowner's insurance.
Okay, well,
That's
the
what they required.
What's the difference in what he said? He said that you had to have your electricity upgraded, and it came up in the inspection report.
It did not come in an inspection report.
Well, then how did they find out?
I
Who
was
found out
honest
about
with
it?
my policy.
What do you mean you were honest with your
Well,
policy?
they asked me what year the house was and what amperage it had, and I said 75.
And your insurance company said to you, it has to be 110
100,
or 100.
yes.
Before you could move into the house, for one reason or another, you had to upgrade the electric.
Correct.
Okay, and you hired Mr. Frazee
Yes,
to
they
do
were
that.
my friends.
I don't care whether he was your friend or not. If he was your
Okay.
friend and he was a vet, you wouldn't have hired him to do
No.
your electrical work.
Of course
He was your
not.
friend and he was an electrical contractor.
Right, correct.
And when he came to your house to look at the job, did he come alone or with a helper?
Alone.
Once you change the ampage in a house, do you have to get somebody from either the county or the city where you live to sign off on it? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
And once Mr. Frazee did that, modified the ampage, did you have an inspection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have that inspection?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And the job was not.
I didn't ask you anything.
Okay.
Hold on.
That also includes Mr. Burnley's
Just a second.
inspection.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Don't volunteer. I'm old. I get confused. I try to keep these things very linear, so even I understand them. This is the inspection sign-off on the work that you did in 2013. Have you seen it? Yes, of course you have.
No.
Well, show it to them. You do remember that you had to have an inspection afterwards.
Of course.
Ms. Booth.
Of course.
Okay, it's just common sense. If you didn't have the work done and you said to your insurance company, I had the work done, the insurance company would say to you, show me proof that you had the
Correct.
work done, otherwise we're not giving you insurance.
Correct.
So you know you had an inspection after he completed the work.
It wasn't
It
after
was,
the work.
The work was never,
Shh, shh. I didn't ask you anything.
Okay.
But I will answer for you.
She
Your
wasn't-
Honor.
You can.
Okay.
You can.
It-
So the insurance company accepted your word that the work was done.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have that back, please?
And I did tell them I had it signed off, but it was signed off when the job was half done.
That's your problem. You want to sign off when something's half done? Fine. I wouldn't sign off when
No,
my
I
hair was
did.
half dry. I'm saying to you that it was nasty and malicious. And it wasn't until the two of you were coochie-coochieing that all of a sudden we got negative reviews about a job they did 9 years before. That's ridiculous. It's mean-spirited.
John and Cynthia Frazee claim John's former client, Cynthia Booth, and her fiancé, Dwayne Burnley, slandered their business. Dwayne is countersuing for filing a wrongful lawsuit.
Now, my next question to you is, after 2013, did you perform electrical work for Miss Booth in her house? That's either a yes or a no.
yes.
Now I'm going to ask you, what was the nature?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't remember.
You mean, just a second, you remember the work that you did when Mr. Frazee was there in 2013, when you were with him, but you don't remember the nature of the work that you did for your girlfriend in 2018?
I'm pretty sure it was a panel upgrade.
Just a second. I want you to think. What kind of work did you do for Miss Booth in 2018?
It must have been the panel upgrade that I did at her house. I changed the 100 amp out to a 200.
Sure, look at me.
Because that would be.
Look at me.
I'm sorry.
So you changed the 100 amp. Shh. This is not my strong suit, and I have to tell you something. Of the 100 million people who are watching this, they're going out to get a cup of coffee right now. You changed the 100 amp that he had done in 2013 to a 200 amp. You upgraded it in 2018.
And put a surge protection system
And a
in her
surge
house.
protection.
Yeah, now I do recall.
Great. When was the first negative review that you can show me written about your company? Now we got what's going on. Now I have
2019,
it
Your
clear.
Honor.
Do you have it clear?
I think a little bit more fuzzy than you, but clear enough.
Do you have it clear?
I have it clear now.
You have it clear? Well, just to make it crystal clear, Mr. Frazee did work at Miss Booth's home in 2013. It was electrical work. It was electrical work performed by him with the help of Mr. Burnley, because in order to get a homeowner's policy on her new house, she had to upgrade to satisfy, according to you, only insurance.
Correct.
That's what you say, from 70 to 100 amps.
Yes.
Look, this whole little thing at my age, I'm learning. Now, evidently, they liked what they saw in 2013, and that materialized into a romance. Good for you. And in 2018, I assume he was living there?
No.
When did he move in?
November of.
Shh.
November?
November of last year.
Yes.
Okay. But you were dating in 2018?
Yes.
Yes. In 2018, Mr. Burnley, not with the help of the plaintiff, replaced and upgraded the 100 amp to 200 amp, which is much better because I know that I have 200. That's, you have to plug things in. It's 110, 220, right?
Yeah.
110, 220. And he put in a surge protector. Now, even I know what a surge protector is. Correct me if I'm mistaken. That means if there's an overload, a lightning strike, whatever it is, it protects it so the whole board doesn't fry and everything turns off, and then you have to replace all the wires go zzz. Am I right? Right. So he upgraded the system and touch of necessity what Mr. Frazee did in 2013. No question, had to do that. Now I'd like to see the negative reviews and when they started.
The first one we found was in 2019, Your Honor.
Well, are these in order? This was...
That's the most current one that was in February of 2022.
Did you write this? Frazee Electric, he was supposed to do a panel change and never put rods in and fried my electronics in my home and garage opener. Left such a mess and never cleans up.
That's correct.
Did you write that?
Yes, I did.
When? In what year?
It's about 3 years ago.
3 years ago, 2018.
Approximately.
About when he changed the electrical
Yes,
system. Just a second.
Okay.
About when he changed the electrical system. All right, then you wrote something. I will not even write this company 1 star due to the unprofessionalism in completion of work. Hire this electrician to do a 100-watt panel, never grounded, never finished, and left a mess. He's known for not cleaning up. Had to hire another electrical contractor that was most professional. Now, when did you write that review?
About the same time.
2018.
Yes, on a different review.
That was a different one. And you said that you had to hire another electrical contractor.
Yes, I
to
did.
finish the job. And who was that?
That was DMB Electric.
That was him?
Yes, I called
Just a second.
2 competitors.
Just a second. In what year did you call them?
Oh, this was...
No, in what year did you call him?
2013.
After he left, you called them?
I called 2 other contractors.
Just a second. Did you end up using Mr. Burnley?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so back in 2013, you were dissatisfied with this company.
Yes.
Let me follow this. 2013, you were dissatisfied with the company. You called another company.
2 other.
Just a second. You called another company, but the county had signed off on your job.
Yes.
What you say in your answer is that they signed off erroneously on the job. Well,
yes.
I have to take at face value they're signing off that the job was completed. And I assume you got your homeowner's insurance.
Yes, I did.
After he left and after you had the county sign off.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But they...
Now, just a second. Now, don't tell me a but.
No.
Now, 5 years later, because this was written in 2018.
Correct.
5 years later, you're now dating Mr. Burnley.
Correct.
Who's now living with you.
No.
Who had, well, you say you moved in 2021.
Oh, 21.
Yes.
I thought you
Yeah, who's now living
Yeah.
with you. You began
Now.
dating in 2018.
That's correct.
And Mr. Burnley, who is now living with you, and in 2018, you woke up one morning and said, who now has his own electrical company, woke up and said, 5 years ago, Mr. Frazee's company and he did not do a professional job in my panel. And now we're dating. And now all these negative reviews come, not in 2013 when we, Sarah, you have Yelp and all those things in 2013?
I'm not sure if I can get back that far, but I could search.
And I wasn't aware of Yelp.
I don't care what you were aware of.
Okay.
You mean you woke up in 2019 and found out that you could give a star or a review? That's the first time you found that out? I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Well, it's
I just
true.
want to tell you something. I don't believe you. I don't believe that when you want to go to a restaurant, Miss Booth, and it's a new restaurant, you don't take a look on your computer and say, I wonder how many stars it got. I wonder if there are any reviews on this resort.
Yes.
Well, then you were smart enough to do this.
My sons are in IT, so they
I want to
told-
tell you something. I don't believe you.
Okay.
Because I'm older than you are. And I know about this, and she can tell you I'm an idiot on the machine.
Well,
I
I'm
don't buy it. And I don't buy actually. Yeah, it is.
I can't see any
Your
of her
Honor,
reviews,
No.
but there are reviews on Yelp of his business that all are very positive.
I have them if you'd like to see them.
I will look
And
at
I
them.
have negative reviews that says the exact same thing what Cindy posted.
Just a second. You don't understand what I'm saying to you, Mr. Burnley. I'm saying to you that it was nasty and malicious, because if she was unhappy with the service, it would have been posted in 2013,
I did.
14, 15, 16, 17. And it wasn't until the two of you were hoochie-coochieing that all of a sudden we got negative reviews about a job they did 9 years before. That's ridiculous. It's mean-spirited. All those positive reviews that you posted, did any of them have to do with people that you're sleeping with? That's a question.
No,
No,
of course not.
Of course not.
I'm not that
Okay.
kind of girl.
Electrician John Frazee has accused his former client Cynthia Booth of posting damaging reviews years after the job was completed.
It's mean-spirited.
That's not correct.
Just a
John.
sec. You say it's not correct.
Well, I'm
I'm looking
saying-
at the timeline. I'm looking at an inspector's report.
Right.
Who is a disinterested party, who signed off on an electrical work. I'm listening to Mr. Burnley, who 5 years later did work that replaced his work from 100 amps to 200 amps with a surge protector, and all of a sudden, you start writing negative reviews about their company. That's the timeline. And if you want to try to fill me in and make me feel as if I made a mistake, I'll give you 30 seconds to do it.
Okay. Yes, we started seeing each other in 2014. And my sons are in IT administration, and they had told me, Mom, you don't know
Don't
about
tell me what
Yelp?"
your sons. Don't tell me what your sons
Okay,
told
I
you.
didn't know about Yelp or Google reviews
Back then.
and back at that time because I'm not computer savvy.
You want to know something? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'm almost 80 years old, a lot older than you are, and I know that if I want to look something up, which I do occasionally, I look something up and I say, did so-and-so eat at this fish restaurant? It's a new place, it's a new town. I'm going to go there and take a look at it. I know how to do that.
I know.
And I'm an idiot, and I'm an idiot. And if you just found it out, if you just
I
found
did.
out
I'm
how to
old
do it,
school.
then there was no reason for your first review to be about his company.
No.
About a job that
There's
was done.
91 other reviews I've posted.
Just a second. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Are you sleeping with any other electrician?
No, I'm not.
Just a second. That's the end. All those positive reviews that you posted, did any of them have to do with people that you're sleeping with? That's a question.
No,
No,
of course not.
Of course not.
I'm not that
Okay.
kind of girl.
What I'm telling you is the timeline doesn't make sense. These nasty reviews written about a job that started 9 years before, in this case, 6 years before, now that you are sleeping with a head of an electrical company, don't make sense. And my nose tells me if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Now, when you came back a month later, what else did you do?
That's it.
Didn't
At that
clean up a
time.
mess.
At
Just a
that
second.
time.
Didn't clean up a mess.
Yes, I cleaned up the mess.
You cleaned up what
My
mess?
mess. He
Oh, your
doesn't
mess.
clean up his mess.
Well, you didn't. That's what you told you.
No, I have other reviews of other people on the internet that posted that
I'm asking you a question. You didn't clean up his mess.
I didn't
No.
clean up his mess. I
Right.
misunderstood you.
Okay, well, that's what I said.
sorry.
You didn't clean up his mess
No, I cleaned up his mess.
and didn't write a review.
Well, I didn't know about Yelp.
I'm telling you, you can say it until the cows come
That's
home.
not
I don't
true, Your
believe
Honor.
you. I don't believe you. And I don't believe that the first year that you found out to write a review is when you and Mr. Burnley started a relationship. I just don't believe it.
No.
And I think it's mean-spirited. You have to know, Miss Booth, I think it's mean-spirited.
But we were seeing each other in 2014.
You were seeing each other in 2014.
Yes.
You have a company, sir?
Yes, I
Do you
do.
have a company?
Yes.
Are you licensed?
Yes.
What's the name of your company?
DMB Electric Inc.
Just would you take a look at that, Sarah?
It'll be under DMB Electric Services Inc.
And in what year was your company formed?
This
She's-
one, this
this-
one, 2013.
He had a prior
I
one.
had a prior one.
2013.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was that before or after you did her job with him? Before
The
or
license-
after?
I had the license before.
No, the company. I said, was the
Yes,
company
the company
formed?
was established.
Careful, because she's a whiz with the computer.
Oh, that's
No, that's good.
Was your company formed before?
yes, Your Honor.
Before you did the job with him?
Yes.
Okay, in what month in 2013?
I don't know.
Are you
what date.
guessing?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Are you
guess
guessing?
January. Yes.
Was it before or after you did the job with the plaintiff? If you don't know the answer, say, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay, now,
The business was incorporated March 20th of 2013.
does it have any reviews?
Only 4 from the past 2 years on Yelp,
I'd
all
like-
positive.
By the way, did you ever write a review for him? Did you ever write a review for Mr. Burnley's company? Is not an answer. Did you ever write a review for Mr. Burnley's company? Stop shaking your head, Mr. Burnley. Did you ever write a review for Mr. Burnley's company?
No.
No.
Okay, I don't know what it is that you didn't understand. Sir, you didn't say much. You don't have to say much. I got what went on here, and I think it was mean-spirited, and you're suing for $10,000.
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
think that their reviews and the abuse of the critique of your business warrants the award of $10,000. You have a counterclaim. Which one of you has a counterclaim?
I do.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I think that you were a co-conspirator in her writing these reviews.
Not.
Counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
Your Honor.
This court
We're
is
done.
adjourned.
During the COVID shutdown, when nobody had any work in a small community of 5,500 people, that's what they chose to do.
Hey, I'm glad it's behind me, man. That's all I can say.
He was just getting his license, and I helped him begin his business, and this is how he serves me.
I agree with the judgment, but why $10,000? That seemed a little high for me.
You can permanently hurt somebody's business, their livelihood, if you write a negative review. Because people more and more rely on the internet when they seek a service, rely on somebody else to say, I've had a good experience or I've had a bad experience. I believe, based upon the timeline that we heard, that the defendants wrote these reviews for a reason other than bad electrical work. Because if there was bad electrical work, that would have shown itself between 2013 and 2018 when her fiance redid the whole system.
Or it wouldn't have passed the inspection.
Or it wouldn't have passed the inspection. So that, to me, is malicious. I think you have to get a real wake-up call. And to me, $500 doesn't do it. It's malicious, and I don't think he has to show any real damages other than the reputation of his business has been sullied by someone for malicious reasons having nothing to do with work that was performed 9 years before. And I'm perfectly comfortable with that judgment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judyjustice.tv for breach of contract and copyright infringement.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge.
Hi.
Case 2081, Kepper versus Fortenberry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Kerper, it is your claim that the defendant breached a contract with you. The contract was a verbal contract. And the nature of that breach was the defendant envisioned in his mind the lyrics to a song. That was his business. And he asked, according to you, he asked you to put music to the lyrics. Am I understanding that correctly?
The latter part is true. However, it was more than just a verbal contract. It's also in writing.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at it.
Okay.
That's important. And according to your complaint, you did, in fact, write the music
Correct.
to his lyrics.
That is correct.
And you had an agreement in writing that you would share the profits of any exploitation of that song
That is correct.
with him.
Yes.
And that he breached that agreement.
Yes, there's also an agreement that he would give me proper credit whenever he was using that.
So now I would like to see, if you say there was a written contract
Yes.
that's signed by both parties. That's what I want to see.
Okay. So this was the original version, which he offered me 25%.
Just a second, just a second,
Okay.
just a second.
Sorry.
Okay, this contract is pretty straightforward, and it's signed by both parties, and it says Luther Winston Fortenberry created a song, Baby I Got Gun, and Charles Kerper, that's you, transcribed it to guitar.
Correct.
So what this contract says, I just want you to understand, Mr. Kerper, is that the defendant created the song, and you transcribed it to guitar. That's what it says. And that was written in January of 2016.
Correct.
It's signed by both people.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what you're showing me is something else.
How it started to change over time.
Listen to me. This was your written contract.
Right.
Any change in that contract, unless I could really find that there was a meeting of the minds with regard to it, has to be in the same formality of this contract. This initial contract is very clear. It does not say that you created this music. I'm telling you what this initial contract says. By the way, Mr. Fortenberry, this contract was written January 30th, 2016.
Yes, I'm looking at it.
Yes. When did you create this song? In what month and year?
About a year. I don't know exactly, but I was at a popular comedy store, and the manager of our show.
What show?
The Ding Dong Show.
What's the Ding Dong Show? When you said our show, was he involved in that?
Just with this transcription.
I was involved with other elements of the music as well with Mr. Fortenberry.
Well, right now this says transcribe. And what I asked you, a simple question, when did you write this song?
At least a year before this contract.
At least a year before January 30th, 2016.
Yes. And I was singing it regularly a cappella at the club.
Okay. But you asked to transcribe it. That's what it says. Now, this was done at the time that you transcribed it to guitar.
I would argue I'd never transcribed it because...
That's just a second. That's what this says. It doesn't say will transcribe it. It said transcribed it.
Correct.
To a guitar that they both agreed to submit for sale.
Correct.
Asking price will be $10,000 to rent and $10 million to sell it outright, and you will split it 75-25. That's what this says.
That is correct.
Now, did you ever rent it?
I never rented it or sold it.
Just a sec. Well, I'm asking you these questions. You never rented it?
No.
And $10 million to sell it outright, and you never sold it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So it was neither rented nor sold, which was your original contract. And you have no proof to the contrary, that he neither rented it nor sold it.
I have evidence that he did use it in other
It doesn't say that you can't use it.
Right, that is correct.
Okay, now you want to show me, sir, because this is what your action is. You want to show me that this original agreement was somehow modified.
Correct.
To give you a wider berth.
This is correct.
Okay, so I'd like to see what you have in writing.
Okay. So immediately after that was signed, about 4 or 5 days later, you have the papers that's stapled behind. I confronted Mr. Fortenberry and I said, this is not a transcribing project. This is a rewriting project. What he provided to me was not usable for transcription. And on the next page, we have a text message exchange that I highlighted where he
Well, just a second.
Shh. Sorry.
Well, this is a text message from him to you.
Correct. And he acknowledged.
And just a second, that's not acknowledging. That's a text message from him to you. Do you have your response to this? You can't unilaterally change a contract that's in writing. I mean, if you have an offer and an acceptance.
Right.
So where is your response to this?
I don't believe I had a response in the history of messages I was able to retrieve, so.
Then this is irrelevant.
Okay.
So far, we have this. We have a writing signed by both parties, which is complete. It says what you did, what you will be paid in the event of a rental or a sale. Now, you want to show me something else?
So going forward, what he did was he registered the song with a registration company in San Diego. He did that without my knowledge.
Just a second, that's irrelevant. This is your contract. Show me where it's a violation of this contract. This contract says you transcribed it to guitar. If the version that you transcribed with a guitar is either rented or sold, you will get 25% of the revenue.
Right.
So we already went through that. You do not have any proof that he either rented it or sold it. It doesn't say that you will be given credit. It doesn't say what your credit will be. If you have a modification where he agreed that you will get certain credit and you accepted that, I will see that. Okay.
This is the most recent agreement signed in August 21st, 2018. It's dated August 8th.
I don't know what this means. Mr. Kerper agrees to release Mr. Fortenberry from any financial liability for work performed prior to the date of this document, that is, prior to 2018.
Correct.
Payment by Mr. Fortenberry to Mr. Kerper will be considered compensation for his time, costs, etc. Mr. Kerper has invested in this ongoing project to date. What did he pay you? Because it doesn't say here.
He didn't pay me anything. What he did was he gave me some camera equipment, which he'd promised me, which was outside of this project. And he gave me $300 as what was deemed a celebratory gift because we were wrapping this up.
No, that's not what this says, Mr. Kerper. Mr. Kerper, we read a contract literally.
Right.
This is a poorly crafted document. But it's clear in regards to Baby I Got Gun,
Right.
Mr. Kerper, that's you, agrees to release Mr. Fortenberry of any financial liability for work performed prior to the date of this document.
Correct.
Payment by Mr. Fortenberry to Mr. Kerper will be considered compensation for time, costs Mr. Kerper has invested in this ongoing project. And what you're telling me is the payment was some camera equipment and $300.
I would say it was not the camera equipment, it was the $300.
What the camera equipment?
This is some camera equipment I had. I had sold him some of it prior, and he had offered it back to me as a gift because I had invested so much work into this project.
You got 5 more minutes of my time.
Okay.
You have no case.
I believe I do, Mayor.
No.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Sorry, you don't. You want him to say, whenever he performs the song, I wrote this song together with Mr. Kerper, and I want you to understand that he's the music man. I don't know what a music man is. It's interesting when people sign contracts and they have no idea what they're doing.
Charles Kerper claims musician Luther Fortenberry owes for breach of contract and copyright infringement.
Now, those are the 2 written contracts. You have any further modification of those contracts in writing?
Yes,
Just a second. I'll see them.
Okay.
This is a contract in writing, 2018. This is 2016. And this was agreed by both parties. So the last agreement was you got $300. Did you pay him $300?
$300 in camera equipment, about $1,500 worth.
Okay. He started to mention that, and then he backtracked. Okay. Next written contract after 2018.
Yes. In that contract, which you have right now, it also says it serves to clarify previous misunderstandings that
Yes.
I wrote the music and I was not a transcriptionist.
Mr. Kerper is to be understood as the music man behind the music and not a transcriptionist. Well, who do you want that to be noted by? Mr. Kerper is to be understood as the music man with capital letters.
Right.
And I don't know what that means.
This was his wording.
Well, then you should have fixed the wording.
I should have, you're correct.
I don't know what a music man is. It's not a trademark, it's not a copyright, it's a nothing. I don't know what it means.
So I wrote the music, which is in the version which he's using currently. I wrote that from scratch. There was no transcribing.
That doesn't say that. Nothing here says that. The only thing this says is Luther Winston created this song, Baby I Got Gun. That says he created it, you signed it. You wanted to clarify it. You wanted to be known as the music man, not just the transcriber. I don't know what music man means. And you got paid pursuant to this, although it doesn't say this, but you acknowledge it, you got paid $300.
Okay, also in that agreement, it also says that I'll be given credit in future uses. It says that.
As the music man. You want him to say you're the music man?
Which he did not give me credit.
Just a second. You want him to say, whenever he performs the song, Baby You Got Gun, if he gets up to perform that, I wrote this song together with Mr. Kerper, and I want you to understand that he's the music man. It's interesting when people sign contracts and they have no idea what they're doing. Okay, let me see the next contract that you have.
So this is an agreement which is supposed to be a performance agreement with his producer from the comedy club.
Well, just a second, let me take a look at it.
He's...
Shh. Well, this is exactly what this says. This says this agreement, and this is August of 2018. And who sent this, by the way?
Mr. Fortenberry sent that to me.
Okay, it said this agreement gives Luther the right to perform music as the opportunity arises. Luther is further released of any further financial responsibility or debt owed making music. Charlie Kerper will be referred to in the future as the music man. This payment will be for goods and costs making music for $300 and camera equipment. If any referral is made in the future as to who wrote and performed parts of said music above, Charlie Kerper will be given those credits.
Correct.
Okay? He sent that to you. Where is your response?
So he sent that back to me on August 8th.
Just a second.
Okay.
He sent this to you. So I would like to see your response to this. I agree to your terms. I disagree with your terms. If you agree with the terms, then I might accept that as a modification of a contract. If you say I disagree with the terms, then there is no modification. We go back to these two signed agreements.
Correct.
Where is your response to that?
Can I explain what happened after that? He's emailed that to me. I was here in LA, and I didn't have an opportunity to entirely go over it, but we were trying to meet with him at a restaurant and also at the museum to have this resolved. So I had my phone only to look at it, and he was playing hardball with me that day. So he sent me these emails saying he had signed these agreements, which included making referral to me and clarifying that I did in fact write the music, which he claims I transcribed.
I need your response to him.
Okay.
If there is no response, we have these two agreements.
So the response was this. That night, he finally agreed to meet with us.
In writing.
Yes.
I want what you sent to him in response to this email.
Well, I called him on the phone and I said, can we meet so we can sign this and put this past so the music video could be moved forward? And he wanted a performance agreement so there wasn't any questions whether or not they could use the music in the video. So I arrived at his apartment. He made us wait outside for half an hour.
Okay, Mr. Kerper, I really don't care.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not relevant.
Yeah.
What's relevant is if you had a subsequent offer and acceptance to a new contract, a modified contract that he made via email, and you responded to him via email that I accept those terms, or if you sent it to him and said, these are the terms I want, and he wrote back and I accept your terms, unless you have that, you are bound by these two written contracts, which means you got paid. You got paid $300 and some equipment. You got paid. Right. And according to this contract, when referring to this music and referring to you, he has to refer to you as in capital letters, the music man.
Correct. Giving me credit. Correct.
No, he has to refer to you as the music man.
It says here in this contract, I'm sorry, if any referrals made in the future as to who wrote and performed parts of said music above, Charlie Kerper will be given those credits.
As a music man.
No, it does not say music man here.
Where?
It should say it in the, not that one. Not that one either, the other one.
There's no other, I only have two written contracts.
This is his original email to me that he sent me before the contract
I don't want
discussing, and it has my response. I have my response attached to it here. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay. Who wrote, your offer is hostile and very lowball for what you're asking?
I wrote that.
I reject it.
Absolutely.
I'm not interested in selling.
That is correct.
Well, that doesn't modify. That means he made you a subsequent offer after these two agreements. You said, I don't like that offer. So there was no change in these two written contracts, one of which called for payment, which you acknowledge you received in the form of $300 and camera equipment. He was limited to using it on one particular program, and he's used it in other places. And I said, put your hand down. When it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to keep your mouth closed.
Charles Kerper is accusing musician Luther Fortenberry of breaking their contract. Luther claims he already paid Charles for his services.
Mr. Kerper, I want you to understand, you're looking at papers. What you're not understanding is, if you are going to modify a written contract, you have to do it with another contract in which there is an offer and an acceptance. He made an offer to you in this. You rejected the offer in your response.
Actually, that email he sent first, he worded it differently, and that's the point.
It doesn't matter. You rejected it.
I rejected the part that included the sale.
Just a second. You can't take pieces of what he says. If you're going to modify a contract which is clear, or as clear as it can be if two lay people write it, and which has been executed and fulfilled by terms of payment, because there was an exchange of cash and goods, which is indicated in here, you have to have a modified contract.
Correct.
This is not a modified contract. He says to you, this is what I'm going to do, and you said to him, I reject it. It's a low ball offer. So we're going to get back to is there a subsequent modification that says, in addition to the $300 and the camera equipment and the fact that I will refer to you if I refer to anyone when he's singing the song, which I've never heard. I've heard of patter, you know, where somebody talks about patter, and so-and-so wrote the song, and he wrote it when he was mourning the death of his dog, and then sings the song. You know, that's patter. That's what I understand patter is, the chatter before. So if he was going to chatter about who wrote the song, he'd have to say, and the man behind the music is Mr. Music Man. That's all this says. And he's never sold it, and he's never rented it that you can establish.
He has used it in film productions?
He can use it. Your contract doesn't prevent him from using it, sir.
The final, I'm sorry, but the first one I gave you is the final. That was what led up to the...
No, this is a clarification, because you asked, right? And this is your final payment, $300, and camera equipment, because that's what you both agree that you got. There is no modification.
There is, though.
Well, then show me.
On the top line of the final, it says it'll be used exclusively in the Ding Dong Show and nowhere else without permission, and that is what is...
Just a second. It says this agreement gives Luther Burbanry the right to perform name music in the Ding Dong Show and the promotional video.
Correct.
And?
That's it.
So?
So that is what he's limited to as far as performance.
Okay, and?
And he went and used my music in other productions without consulting me. Okay. I also have lyric sheets showing that...
Listen to me, sir.
Yes.
I've already explained to you what this case is about. It's a contract case.
Okay.
I'm not going to go through contracts 1 and contracts 2. It was painful enough when I went through it the first time, half a century ago.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is you have no modification of a contract unless there's an offer and acceptance. The only 2 contracts you have are here. I absolutely read this, and it says this agreement gives Luther Fortenberry the right to perform music named in the Ding Dong Show and promotional video.
Correct.
That's what it says. You say he used it in other places.
That is correct.
There's no remedy if he uses it in other places. You only have a remedy, sir, if he sells it or rents it. And you're not asking for injunctive relief. There's no action.
He did with it, to be honest.
What?
I don't know what he's done. I've asked him for a complete statement of where he's used this and what payment.
Mr. Carper.
Yes.
You're the plaintiff.
Yes.
It's not his burden. It's your burden. What you're saying is he was limited to using it on one particular program, according to this, and promotional. And he's used it in other places. And I said, put your hand down. When it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to keep your mouth closed. It's your burden to show me that he used it in other places. That's first.
Okay.
Show me.
I can do that. Just, I have the papers. I had it quite orderly before I came into court, and its nerves happen.
You can look for it, sir. I'm just advising you that your action is for breach of contract. That's what you filed. Right now, I have 2 contracts. One contract was fulfilled with the payment of $300 and camera equipment. There is an agreement here, however, that says he can use that music on certain things. It doesn't say exclusively on certain things. He says he can use it on the Ding Dong Show and promotional video. I assume promotional video, if you're inferring what that means, is for the Ding Dong Show. Now, it doesn't say it. If he uses the music someplace other than the Ding Dong Show and promotional video and he gets paid for it, I get a certain amount of money. Your original contract provides for a 75-25 split if the music is rented or sold.
Right.
That's what it provides for.
So when I accepted the payment on the contract, that was with the notion that he was going to give me credit in the future, which he has not done.
Okay, we're done here, Mr. Kerper. It's unfortunate, but you are bound by the terms of this contract. The terms of the contract are absolutely clear. You have one in 2018, and you have one in 2016. The one in 2016 is crystal clear. You're a transcriber, and as a transcriber, you will get 25% if the music is either rented or sold. Subsequently, there was a writing that says you don't want to be known as the transcriber. You want to be known as the music man.
Your Honor, so I did not transcribe anything. I wrote the music,
okay.
And that's
Mr.
why the
Carper, we're done. You got paid
paper...
$300 for writing the music and camera equipment. We're done. Your case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
Mr. Fortenberry approached me to transcribe a piece of music he
Well, I'm sorry she had to listen to so many lies.
presented me as completed, which it was not.
And I'm glad she had something in print, like contracts.
I helped develop the lyrics further and also write the music.
I hoped that he would see the truth
Well, there's always more songs, isn't there?
and correct his lies.
While I really appreciate that these two plaintiff and defendants had a written contract, it's always a risk as a layperson to write a contract yourself. It has to be fully integrated, all the points have to be hit, and one major part that was lacking here was a remedy section. So if the plaintiff is claiming that he deserves some sort of credit or some sort of payment for a show or an exploitation of the song going forward, there needs to be a sentence, at least, that's a meeting of the minds as to what's going to happen if that condition is not met. In the future.
In the future, because the contract, the second contract in 2018, clearly said he was paid. And he was
And
paid.
he signed it.
And he signed it. He was paid $300 and some camera equipment. The defendant said it was worth $1,500. I don't know whether it was or it wasn't. Anyway, it was inartfully done. You have to give them credit for trying.
Yes.
For trying. You know, they're music people. They're artists.
Yeah. Language and specifics and details is more our forte as lawyers.
More important, it's so frightening that I think I have a memory somewhere back here of the Ding Dong Show. So I'm going in the back now and look up the Ding Dong Show.
Well, I'd like to hear that origin story.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Ex-boyfriend Ted Kelly Jr. for unpaid loans and airfare.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2040, Harvey versus Kelly.
Thank you. Ms. Harvey, according to what you wrote in your complaint, you've known Mr. Kelly since college?
Yes.
And you dated in college?
Yes.
That was more than 30 years ago?
Yes.
And according to Mr. Kelly, you broke up with him in
Yes.
college. In what year was that?
Oh, gosh. That was what?
Do you remember?
92, I believe, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then somehow you reconnected. I assume you both had lives in between 1992 and 2022. When did you reconnect?
In April of 2021.
How?
Well, he was looking for me, so...
He was looking for you?
He emailed my best friend. He emailed her business and asked her, well, gave her his number and
said,
asked that I call him.
So far correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you were interested in seeing her again. In that 30-year period, did either of you have other people in your lives, have children, marry?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, how long were you married?
I was married for 10 years.
Have any kids?
Yes, 2 kids.
And you, sir?
11 years. And
Have any children?
One child, yes.
Both divorced?
Yes.
Okay, that could have made an interesting love story, but didn't happen. Okay, so you wanted to reconnect with her. You got in touch with a friend of hers through a business number, and you called him?
Yes, I did.
And that was in April of 2021?
Yes.
Where did you live at the time?
Detroit, Michigan.
And you, sir?
Colton, California.
When was the first time you actually saw each other?
April of 2021.
You live in Michigan.
Yes.
But you have a child who lives in California.
I do.
How old is that child?
21.
Male or female?
Male.
And where does he live now?
With his dad.
When you come down to see him, where do you stay?
In the past, sometimes I would stay with his dad, and sometimes I would stay in a hotel.
So when you visit him, you either stayed with his father or your ex-husband?
Yes.
Or stayed in a hotel?
Yes.
Depending upon the circumstance. Most of the time, did you stay at the house with his father, or most of the time in a hotel?
Most of the time, in the past, I stayed in the house with his father.
And is this his father's only child as well?
We have 2 children together.
2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the other child?
She's in Chicago, Illinois.
How old is she?
26.
So you see her less frequently than you see your son?
I probably see them about the same.
Do you go to visit her in Chicago?
Yes.
And you go to visit your son in California?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm gathering happened is you saw each other for a while, you thought it was an exclusive relationship, you did not.
At first, yes, I did, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
The last time I saw her was in Detroit, and when I returned from Detroit, the girl that I was seeing at the time had disappeared.
You mean the girl that you were seeing prior to seeing her?
Right, exactly. And I thought the relationship was over. She went deep into Mexico, and I hadn't heard from her. She had to go for some family business. And then she resurfaced once I came back,
And once you came back from California on your last trip?
Once I came back from Detroit.
From Detroit?
Spending time with her.
To California.
And so we started talking again, and I didn't get in contact with her. She was trying to contact me, and so
you stopped answering her calls?
No, not really. I called her, and I let her know that, you know, the girl resurfaced and that I didn't think it was going to be able to work out between me and her. And that's when the problem came along.
The problems with regard to money?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what your lawsuit is about. So you broke up with her, and at that time, according to you, you had unpaid advances to him for an airline ticket and car repairs and some small amount of money for a new grandchild that he had, some baby items. So let's start with the plane ticket. When was the plane ticket?
The plane ticket was purchased in May. It was to go and see him for his birthday.
Okay. Was this the only time that there was an airfare issue? Who paid for the airfare? Because he would drive most of the time.
He drove one time. I flew, and this was the only time that he said he would pay for the ticket. I paid the other time.
Okay, well, tell me about his discussion with you of paying for this ticket.
Sure.
In May.
So he wanted me to come for his birthday.
When is your birthday?
In June, Your Honor.
And I told him that I was looking for tickets.
He said, I want you to come for my birthday.
Yes.
No, tell me what he said.
He said...
Tell me what he said. No, don't look over there. Look over here.
He said, I'm going to fly my boo thing out.
Okay. And
later, I looked for tickets, and he said, oh, I was going to give you $500.
Okay. And you purchased the ticket, and that was in May of what year?
That was in May of 2021. We agreed that I would put the ticket on my credit card.
And when you got to his home in California, did he give you the $500?
He did not give me the $500.
When did you ask him for it again?
I didn't ask him for it while I was there.
And then?
And then when I was back home, he told me that he was going to take care of it. He said he was trying to get his money together to come to Detroit, and he was crunching numbers. And
No, I'm talking about the airline ticket.
Right. Then he said, I need to give that money to you this week, right? And I told him I had made a payment on a credit card and he could have more time. And so he said he would take care of it. He said, I'll take care of it when I'm there the 1st of August.
Did he come the 1st of August?
He came in August, yes.
Okay, and what happened in August?
He came in August. We was there. We did not have any discussion about money until he told me that his account was compromised and somebody owed him some money and didn't give him the money. And so that's when he asked for the other loan amount.
For the other amount of money? You mean he was in Michigan when he asked for more money?
Yes.
Well, when he asked for any money. You had never given him money before.
Correct.
Tell me about it.
So he sent me a text message, and he asked if I could go to the credit union and take out a loan for him.
I'd like to see that.
Sure.
Please, if it was in a text message. Thank you. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you check with your credit union and see if you could get a personal loan for $1,000 and I can make payments on it because I don't even have my gas money to get out here? And she responds, I can loan you $1,000. Is that all you need? And you respond to her, well, the $500 I'm short would be perfect if you can.
$1,500.
$1,500, excuse me. $1,500.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, what do you think that meant? Hey, baby, you think you can make that loan and even $2,000?
No, I'm saying the money wasn't a problem until I dumped her.
I don't care if it was a problem a lot. You said it was a loan.
Exactly.
Pay careful attention. If you want a dog that guarantees you practically a nice disposition, buy a golden doodle, not a wolf.
Devonna Harvey says her ex-boyfriend, Ted Kelly Jr., owes for an unpaid loan and airfare.
Well, what do you think that meant?
That she was going to give me the money. But the reason the car was having the problems is because I drove it out there to see her.
No, it's not what this says at all.
Well, a couple days later.
Shh.
Sure.
That's not what this says at all. It says I'm in a hole. Can you go and get money from the credit union? Can you get $1,000? And she was nice, and she said to you, "Was that all you need?" And you said, "Well, as long as you're going, I could actually use $1,500. That would be perfect."
Right. I didn't know that we were keeping tabs on things because I've spent money on her and never asked her for anything.
It's not a question of spending money, sir. Spending money on her is chivalrous.
She came to see me on my birthday, but I bought her gifts. And I took her to Mexico for 4 days.
7 years of college and law school. I took the bar exam. I've been a judge for over 40 years. You think I'm going to listen to you buying her a hamburger? That's not what this is about, sir.
It wasn't a hamburger.
Or a present. That's what people do. You told me, sir, that you were in an exclusive relationship until your girlfriend from Mexico resurfaced. That's what you told me. So buying each other presents is not an issue. Did you tell her?
Just like the plane tickets. I went to see her in college, and I didn't try to charge her for the plane ticket. She came to see me, and we never had that issue.
Are you talking about when you were in college?
No, I'm talking about the plane tickets. We never had an issue with me having to pay a plane ticket for her to come and see me.
I know that, but she said this one was different. This one ticket, not all the others when you visited. This one ticket, you said you wanted her to come for your birthday, and you said you would pay for the ticket.
She wanted to come, Your Honor. It wasn't I just wanted.
She said you said to her, "I want you to come for my birthday. I'll pay for the ticket."
Because she had the time that she could go at any time that she wanted to. She was planning to come out here anyway because her son was here.
Well, I understand you tell me that now. Did you ask her to come out for your birthday, is my question.
Yes, probably so.
Okay. How much was the airline ticket?
$500.
Show me. $446.80.
But with bags, it was $500.
I don't care about the bags. Okay. Now, I want you to tell me about these baby items. That's the last thing on your menu.
But we didn't finish with the other.
We finished with it.
But he asked me for an additional $500 after that $1,500. 2 days later. I have that here, too.
I'd like to see it, please. On Friday, August 20th, said, "Hey, baby, I had a question. Do you think you can make that loan in even $2,000? Because I need to get a few things done on the car." And she says, "Yes, but I can't get to the bank today. I can hit the ATM on my way home." Okay, that's fine.
Right.
What was that?
And there was never nothing said about a time limit or nothing until I got back.
Hey, baby, you think you can make that loan and even $2,000?
No, I'm saying the money wasn't a problem until I dumped her.
I don't care if it was a problem a lot. You said it was a loan.
Exactly. And when I told her I'd pay her back, she didn't hear from me, so then now we're here.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's a lot of mumbo-jumbo gibberish. Okay, $2446.88. Now tell me about the baby items.
So he asked me...
When?
Text message, that was...
When?
In July 8th, I'm sorry.
So this was before you loaned him the other money?
Yeah.
Okay, so in July...
He asked me, did I have Cash App? And I told him I did, because I thought, and I gave him my Cash App handle because I thought he was trying to pay me the airline ticket. But he said, no, the problem was that he didn't have Cash App, and he was trying to get his son's baby's mother some money and wanted to know if I could send it for him because I had Cash App.
How much money did he need for his son's
There were
girlfriend?
2 occasions. One was $60 and one was $50.
Do you recall that, Mr. Kelly?
I don't recall her not getting the money for that. I didn't do it because he wasn't in the area where I can give it to him, and I didn't have Cash App, and she sent it on the Cash App, but I gave her the cash for that.
And that was in July?
Yes, while I was still there.
He never gave me any cash.
I don't think so either, because then you borrowed all this money the next month.
He also asked for a Western Union.
$25.56. Just for my own curiosity, sir, are you still with the girlfriend who disappeared to Mexico?
Yes.
Yes, you live together?
No.
Okay, well, it wasn't the ending that perhaps you all envisioned, but you borrowed this money from her, sir, and you have to return it. $25.56, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Obviously, I'm happy.
Well, technically, yeah, it was a loan.
Judge saw through what he was trying to say. I don't know what he was trying to say.
But I spent money on her, and I never kept tabs on it.
Oh, my gosh, he just asked me for a lot of money.
I wasn't in love with her, and somebody else came back from the past.
No, I just want my money, and I told him that. I just want my money.
So I'm curious, Judge, the ratio of cases that you've seen of women loaning men money versus the other way around, men loaning women, their girlfriends, money.
I think I would have to go with 80-20.
I would agree.
This woman has somebody who's reasonable. He, on the other hand, she was okay until his girlfriend from Mexico resurfaced and he broke up with her. I think he probably was hurt all the years from college that she broke up with him because he talks about it in his answer. But women really have to be smarter.
Invested in yourself would be my best advice for women.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You invest in yourself.
Case number 2045, Vervick versus Baez. All parties, please step forward.
Howard Verberick is suing his former customers, Angela and Jimmy Baez, for loss of income and the cost of a wolf dog.
Mr. Verberick, what do you do for a living?
I'm an auto mechanic.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
When did you get into breeding and selling wolf dogs?
Approximately 8 years ago.
Why?
I found the animals fascinating.
Why would any normal person want to own with 219 breeds or more in this country, in the world of dogs? Why would you take a dog that is in part, and you don't know what part, wild wolf?
Howard Verberick claims his former customers, Angela and Jimmy Baez, owe for the cost of a wolf dog. Angela and Jimmy are countersuing for harassment.
This is your case. The defendants purchased one of your puppies several years ago.
One, yes.
And a couple of years later, according to you, they were looking for a second dog.
Yes.
Did they contact you?
Yes.
By phone?
Through messaging.
Which you have?
Yes.
Okay. And I will take a look at it at an appropriate time. That they were looking for, I think they were looking for a male, they had had a female.
Correct.
And you were prepared to accommodate that. Did you give them a price for the dog?
Yes.
What was that?
At the time, it was $800.
And after certain discussions with them, was that price ever modified?
Yes, it was.
To what?
Angela thought that the $800 was a little expensive, and...
How much had they paid for the first dog?
$500.
Okay.
The reasoning being, they helped me sell some...
No, just years before, they had paid $500. You were asking $800 for this male.
It was $800 back then also. Under the circumstances, if they helped me sell animals, then I would give them a deal.
Did they do that for you the first time that
yes,
they...
ma'am.
So the first time that they bought a puppy from you, they paid $500 and assisted you in finding owners for other puppies.
Correct.
Is that correct? Yes. Second time, you asked for $800.
Yes.
And then did you make the same deal with them?
I did.
How many puppies did you have?
At the time, I had 6.
Did they come over and see the puppies?
No.
Isn't that usual to come over and pick one, unless you only had one male?
Sometimes. I've sold other people animals throughout the United States by pictures only and updated photographs.
On what date did you go and pick up your puppy?
He dropped the puppy off to us on, I think it was March 22nd.
How far does he live from you?
About 40 miles, 30
So you
miles.
could have easily gone to see the litter.
Yes, correct.
So you chose for him to drop the puppy off.
Well, he kind of messaged us, and we had a phone conversation where he stated that he couldn't feed the puppies anymore.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I know you have a script that you want to tell me about because you have something in your head, but that's not what I asked you. What I asked you was you could have gone to look at the litter of puppies.
Correct.
And picked out which one you wanted.
Correct.
You chose to have him deliver it to you.
Yes.
That was my question. He delivered to you a male puppy. How old was the puppy you delivered to them?
Approximately 9.5 weeks.
I don't know if that's an appropriate time for wolf dog puppies, but 10 weeks is a reasonable time to separate puppies from the litter and their mother. I know that that's not what I went to law school for, but you require a certain amount of nonsense information over the course of a lifetime. Anyway, did they pay you for that dog?
No.
What was the arrangement?
According to Angela, I got 3 different amounts. She was going to give me a $100 deposit and $100 a week, a $150 deposit, then $100 a week, and a $200 deposit and $100 a week. I got nothing.
At what purchase price?
She was thinking the $500. when I was asking the $800.
That's not what I said. Did you ultimately make an arrangement with her for $500 if she helped you find other pet owners? Okay, let's be direct. So you agreed to make them the same deal with this dog as you made with the last.
Correct.
Which is, I'll give you if you help find other potential prospects for the other puppies.
Correct.
So purchase price was $500, and they did find you other people for the puppies.
One, yes.
Well, they found one. It wasn't specified. They found one. And did you place that puppy?
Yes.
This is what your lawsuit is about. You say that she didn't pay you any money, and the people who you placed the other dog with did not finish paying you.
Correct.
Well, they're not responsible for that person. They're not responsible for that person unless you gave them the dog in order to collect the money. Okay. Or did you drop the puppy off?
I dropped the puppy off at their house.
Then that's your problem. Okay. So then what we're dealing is the $500 that you claim they owe you for the dog.
Oh, plus potential loss of income.
Oh, no, yeah. Be ridiculous. Okay, $500. Let me hear your excuse.
I think that the dog has been abused, and I have video proving.
And?
The male won't ever come around.
Just a second, and?
The male does not like males. What he'll do is he will cower at the sight of any male. He's very aggressive when he goes to take food from you.
He was 10 and a half weeks old.
We've had him for 8 months now, and we still can't touch him.
But you got him, and he was 9 and a half weeks old.
And he's still the same.
You got him when he was 9 and a half weeks old. So that's not a reason not to pay for him. You still have him.
He needs proper care, and we don't feel like we should pay anything.
No.
Not with what we have to deal with the dog emotionally and everything else.
Well, unfortunately, the law does not agree with you. You agreed to pay him $500 for a dog. You have the dog, and you have to pay him the $500 for the dog. That's it. It's an easy case. That was your contract. You didn't make a contract with him for a dog that had a nice disposition. Just pay careful attention. If you want a dog that guarantees you practically a nice disposition, buy a golden doodle, not a wolf. Buy a golden doodle.
Gotcha.
Buy a Shih Tzu. You want a big dog? What's another big dog?
Golden retriever.
Buy a golden retriever. But if you people are odd enough to think that wolf dogs make good pets, not knowing, because I did a little investigation into wolf dogs, are wolf dogs good pets? Because I get my cases early, and I say, why would any normal person want to own with 219 breeds or more in this country, in the world of dogs? Why would you take a dog that is in part, and you don't know what part, wild wolf? Why would you do that? If your animal is aggressive, go look at its history. Because sometimes they'll grow up to be friendly, nice dogs, like the first one you had.
The first one I have is very well with our kids.
You know, this one, I'm going back to my wolf roots. Well, so it's judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
We more or less rescued this dog.
The dog had no issues before.
He cowers down to any side of a male.
That's just a totally false statement.
It's to the point where he's got to get a trainer.
I hope that it is taken care of, and if they don't want the animal, I'd be glad to take it back and care for it.
We're going to work with him. Yeah, we're not going to let him go.
Just another example of people who maybe not, looked into the history of a dog, a wolf dog. Mm-hmm. And if you read about it...
I did a little before the case.
Yeah. And it said that a wolf dog is a mix between a wild dog and a domesticated dog. And they list the names of the kinds of dogs that they have been bred with over the course of the years. But in that kind of situation, you don't know how much wolf you're getting.
It's a risk.
You could be getting 8% wolf. You could be getting 50% wolf. You really don't know. I think that there are some jurisdictions where they don't allow them to be sold as domesticated pets.
I think there are a few out there. I just think it's a gamble, and you have to be willing to assume the risk.
I think that we have totally covered wolf dogs.
I think we have.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. For Garrett Manny for unfinished video services.
Court come to order. All rise.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Hello, Judge. Case 2089, Brooks versus Manley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Brooks, you are a realtor.
Yes.
And you also decided to go into the business of buying houses, fixing them up, and flipping them.
That's correct, Your Honor.
When did you decide to do that?
I started my company in 2017.
Was that just a real estate company, or was that the company that bought houses and renovated them and sold them? Which one?
That was my company that I started for flipping houses.
Do you have a partner in that business?
No, it's just myself.
From 2017 until now, how many houses have you sold and flipped?
This would have been my third one.
The house that we're talking about now?
Yes.
And when did you purchase that house?
I purchased it in March of 2020.
How much did you pay for it?
$200,000.
This is what the case is about. For that house, just that house, you commissioned Mr. Maney?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
And you're a videographer?
Yes, Your Honor, photographer and videographer.
To video for the purposes of advertising the project from start to finish, what it looked like when you purchased it, and sort of ongoing throughout the process, taking video of what you did to change cosmetically the inside and or the outside of the house. And you had an agreed price with him, which you paid. How much was that?
$1,919.
And it is your claim that since Mr. Maney did not finish the project and did not take the end product of what the house looked like when it was finished, you acknowledge he did come at other times and took video of what the house looked like at the beginning and the middle. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
But didn't do the video of the end, that you want your entire $1,919 back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whatever he says. Mr. Maney says that you were difficult, that it was impossible, the job was supposed to take 4 months, it took almost a year, he didn't sign on for that, which may be. But more important, is there a video? Do you have a video of what he took? Do you have a video of what you gave her?
I have in my Google Drive a ton of video of what I've taken, but at the end, I have evidence showing we had scheduled for me to come in and do that final video. Everything was on point. Then she tells me here,
no,
it's going to be completed.
Just a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to let you have an opportunity
Okay, sorry, Your Honor.
to tell me what your defense is to this case, if you need one. I just want to see some video of what you took. Doesn't anybody have that here? I mean, if 3/4 of the project was completed with video, and the only thing, according to you, that he didn't do was the end, that's what you just told me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so did he give you the video that was done?
I got nothing, Your Honor.
Your Honor, she has had access to the Google Drive with all of the video components in there. I cannot complete the final edits to put everything together until she completed things on her part, which was never done, which was spoken about from the beginning.
Completing things on her part meant completing the house.
Completing the house, talking points.
Okay, but video is completing the house.
That's part of it.
Part of it, and the other one is audio where she tells you what's been done.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm just thinking out loud. Why didn't you do that yourself?
Your Honor, I never had a video to be able to go and do my...
No, I'm saying, did you have access to what he had done up until that time? That's either a yes or a no. Did you have video capability of seeing what video he had shot?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have some evidence to show me that the plaintiff had access to the video that you had shot of 3/4 of the project being completed?
I believe I have something in here about uploading stuff into the Google Drive, which if she didn't have access to that Google Drive, then how did she upload the final walkthrough video that I do have evidence of that is not professional, that I was unable to complete due to her lack of commitment?
Just a second. You have video of what?
There is video evidence of the final walkthrough that was done by somebody on a phone camera because she canceled on me last minute when we were supposed to do it.
Just a second. Where did you get that evidence from?
She uploaded it into the Google Drive that had all of the videos, which she had access to, obviously,
so
if she put it in there.
So what you're saying is Miss Brooks added a video of a final walkthrough that was done by whom?
My son.
By her son. And she added that final walkthrough to the Google Drive, and therefore you were able to get it. And she tacked that on to the work that you did complete. Is that what you're telling me?
All of the rest of the videos are in that same Google Drive.
Were in the same Google Drive?
Which she had access to
the
entire...
Now I'd like to see the video.
Which is not professional quality.
What did you do with that, Miss Brooks?
Your Honor,
what did you do with it?
Nothing.
At first you told me you didn't have access, that you never saw them. Then they were available to you and your son to be able to look at them. You say you never looked at them. I actually find that unbelievable, Ms. Brooks. I find it unbelievable that you had them and you didn't look at them.
Rosa Brooks claims videographer Garrett Manny did not finish her home renovation video.
You didn't send it to him. There's no question you didn't send it to him.
He requested...
You did not send it to him.
No, I didn't No, my son sent it to him.
How do I know that?
He requested it from my son because he asked me to, but I did not know how to forward it to him on the format that he was requiring. I also have tried to meet with Mr. Manny to have him upload or transfer all of the video that I videotaped of when he couldn't make it to his office so that he can upload it onto his computer so he can edit it. He never gave me an edited copy of
Just a second. Ms. Brooks, is what you're telling me you have never seen any video of the 3/4 of the job that you acknowledge that he did? Are you telling me you've never seen any of those videos?
Never seen any of those videos, Your Honor, only when he was recording it at the property.
Mr. Maney, you wanted to show me something.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, there is...
At the beginning, when we started.
A few things here.
First of all, you have on your Google Drive
Yes, Your Honor.
all of the video that you took.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you currently have it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any way that I can see any of it?
Absolutely. I also have another video that shows real estate videography work that I've done for other clients.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I'm not interested in that.
You should also be able to see on the Google Drive who has access to it.
Oh.
I removed the access when this case came up because I didn't want, at this point, I don't trust the plaintiff. So I removed her access so that she couldn't go and delete the videos and try to claim that she never had access.
To them. Got it.
Let me see.
Give the phone to Sarah, please, Kevin.
There it is, flip videos. That's all the different files with all of the different videos. And there may be something that you can push in there to see when people had access at one point, because I had access for herself as well as her son. And she has prior uploaded videos into there herself.
There's more than 30 videos in here, and
those are just files.
I see the two little people on Google Drive, which usually indicates that it's shared with more than one person.
Is it currently shared with anybody other than the defendant? He said he took her off the shared access.
Rosa Brooks does have access to all of the videos.
She does.
Your Honor, can I explain why he set up that folder? Because I also took video myself to upload onto that. He showed me how to do that.
He told me that you also did, but he said that this file also includes the video footage that he took.
Yes, but it was never edited, so I can do voiceovers.
Just a second. I asked you a specific question, Ms. Brooks. I said, did you ever see any of the video that he took? Your answer was no.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
Well, the fact that you didn't look at it, I don't believe. I find no validity to why, if you had it and you were coming to court today and you were dissatisfied, why you wouldn't look at it. You had your son have access to it, and I don't know how old your son is, who took the end video. I'm going to look at some of it, but it's clear to me that Mr. Maney performed a substantial amount of work for you. Clearly, $1,900 worth of work. Clearly. So what happened at the end that caused you to have your son do an end look at what the place looked like? I don't know why, but Mr. Maney said that he has an email from you that I'm going to look at now. That would sort of be dispositive of what happened at the end run of this case. Well, Sarah, could you give me just one look at his?
Sure. So he has all of these different files for different sections of the home, driveway, fireplace, and if you click on them, these are all of the videos taken for flooring And if you click on this, it's a video of them doing flooring, and you can see who has access to the clips. Her son,
Jeffrey and Rosa.
And the owner is the defendant.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
And there's probably over 50 videos in the file.
So that you and your son had access to these videos over an extended period of time. The fact that you didn't look at it, that's not my problem.
Your Honor, my son did that video late at the end, towards the end of
what I'm telling you is you had access to these videos.
Well,
at first you told me you didn't have access, that you never saw them. Then they were available to you and your son to be able to look at them. You say you never looked at them. I actually find that unbelievable, Ms. Brooks.
Honor,
I find it unbelievable that you had them and you didn't look at them.
I didn't feel it was a need to look at them, Your Honor. I was anticipating going up to Mr. Manny's office, so once he edited, I could do the voiceovers on them.
Okay.
There was no real
Ms. Brooks,
purpose.
I don't believe that you didn't look at them, madam. This was a $200,000 investment that you made, and this was a project. The first time that your business had done it, I don't believe that you didn't look at them. How much did you sell the house?
That folder for me to
how much did you
put my videos into.
How much did you? You're trying to talk over me. That's not happening.
I'm not.
You sold the house in what month and year?
The house closed on January 2022.
And what did you sell it for?
$555,000.
So you made $350,000.
No, Your Honor, $270,000 went into the house renovation.
Just a second. You sold it for $350,000 more than you paid for it.
Your Honor, I use hard money, and there's lots of.
Just a second. I know you're arguing with me. You bought it for $200,000. You sold it for $550,000.
Yes.
My math is not great, but that's a difference of $350,000. That's all I said to you. I said you bought it for $200,000. You sold it, and the difference between the purchase price and the sale price was $350,000.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
So even if you made, in those few short months, $150,000, you didn't do the physical labor on the house. You had workmen do the physical labor on the house.
I did some of it, Your Honor.
Well, you made a handsome profit. I want you to tell me what you think his work is worth.
Rosa Brooks has accused videographer Garrett Manny of not completing her home renovation video.
Now, you sold it in January of 2022.
That's correct.
That's when it closed.
Yes.
When did it go into contract?
Early in the project, Your Honor. It was pretty much the third month after I purchased it. So I purchased it in March. It was under contract around July of 2020.
Well, there was a lot of back and forth and a little bit of cancellation on your part back in December. You needed a little wiggle room. Looks like Monday would be a better day. First it was Friday. So there was lots of back and forth on the endgame video.
Yes, Your Honor. He
also what?
He also canceled as well. He has to.
Well, that's all right, but
Yeah, back and forth. We both had cancellations. And
I understand that, but this was for the final piece, which is what you're complaining about, the final piece.
Your Honor, he was not responding to me at some point when I tried to contact him to get the opportunity to go to his office to give him the rest of the footage that he needed, that he requested, that he was difficult about because I wasn't able to forward it to him in the format that he needed it for. I offered to come up to his office so that he can, transfer from my phone.
I'm going to ask you a question, Ms. Brooks. I just want to see what I'm dealing with.
Yes.
How many files of video did he have?
Oh, I can't tell.
You told me 30?
There's at least 30.
I had tons of video myself in there that I uploaded that he taught me how to put into those folders. A lot of those videos are my videos that he didn't take.
I don't care. It was on the same thing that you could have looked at and told me that you didn't, which I don't believe. So I want you to understand that. He was involved. There are 30 files. I want you to tell me, how much do you think that on a time basis Mr. Maney is entitled to? You paid him $1,919. He did clearly countless of hours of videoing your project. At the end, it turned south, and the videos were available to you. I want you to give me a figure of what you think is fair. Fair.
I don't have a figure that I think is fair because, first of all, he spent 10 minutes on each visit, first of all, to do his filming.
Where does he live?
Second, he lives like the next town over from me.
Just a second, so he has to get there.
Yeah.
I want you to think, Ms. Brooks, I want you to think of what you personally did to make a profit of $350,000.
Your Honor, I didn't profit that amount.
I'm telling you, that's the difference. You may have spent money in renovating the property, but that's the difference between what you purchased it for and what you sold it for, $350,000. So the sweat of your brow, your work ethic is worth something. So even if you made in those few short months $150,000, you didn't do the physical labor on the house. You had workmen do the physical labor on the house.
I did some of it, Your Honor.
Well, maybe, but you made a handsome profit. I want you to tell me what you think Mr. Maney's work was worth to you, because I'm telling you right now, I am viewing this case as if you and your son had access to 3/4 of the finished product. So I want you to tell me what you think his work is worth.
Your Honor, it's worthless to me that I didn't get the video.
Okay.
I had a website that I needed the video for once the job was completed.
Well, that's unfortunate. You should have had your son do it. Since you can't give me a figure, I'm dismissing your case. We're done. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
First of all, I paid him for something that I never got anything for.
They had access to the files the whole time.
And as far as him saying he uploaded some videos.
The only reason I wasn't able to get the final video.
Yes, they were uploaded, but I never got a chance to really review them.
It's because she canceled on me like 12 hours before we were supposed to do it.
I was not anticipating on reviewing anything that was not edited.
It was her lack of put together a commitment.
Not to pay for anything up front until the project is finished.
You just can't make everybody happy, but...
Don't trust anybody.
This is the only client I've ever had that was not happy. That says something.
I love Google Drive. They leave a record. You can see who started the file, who shared the file, who has access to it, who had revoke access. So I could see as soon as I logged in, he was very organized. He had different areas of the house labeled, individual videos of flooring progress, all of those were owned by him, shared with the plaintiff to be able to view them. So I don't understand why people lie about things that are so easily to be fact-checked.
And did it make sense to you that if you had this project going, and it was the first time that you were memorializing one of your flipped houses, although she had two before, that it was something that she was interested in?
I know for myself on Google Drive, you get emails when things get uploaded. I would have been checking the second that the video got uploaded.
It doesn't make sense that she didn't look at them.
No, not at all. There were some videos that she potentially did add to the Google Drive, so I did see some of those.
Well, that's so interesting, because in order to be able to do that, you have to know
access.
that. Right. Didn't make sense. Not only didn't it make sense, but she had an end video, and it was clearly from the emails back and forth. She would make a date and then say, you know, her buyers aren't exactly ready. She needs a little more wiggle room. Could you make it this? She made it. Anyway, I found it sort of unbusinesslike. Did not say. Somebody did work, clearly spent hours videotaping for her. So if you didn't get your final video, but 3/4 of it was finished and could easily be edited by anybody, to find the work he did worthless.
I feel like it was a little bit of buyer's remorse for the video, because she was intending to use this video to maybe attempt to sell it. And I presume it was to try and sell the home. Or her business as a flipper.
Her business as a flipper.
I feel like she found the buyer for the house and said, man, the video's not really worth anything to me anymore, and just didn't want to pay him.
She had paid him, she wanted it back.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Have you been cheated? Go to judyjustice.tv.